how to fast forward your meditation progress. So in this video, I want to discuss, the simple mechanisms of how meditation is actually supposed to be done. Because sometimes just before creating my videos, I try to take a 5 minute or 2 to 3 minute meditation, and for me it's very fast and very quick to get into the actual meditative state, which corresponds to the delta frequency in psychology. So I want to explain to you how it's done, and there is a methodology to do it, and it's not rocket science. It's something very simple. You just have to understand and stop wasting time, meandering in the lower levels of mind jugglery and get into actual meditation. So uh, I would like to ask you a great favor. If you like the contents of my video, please also do not forget to also like and subscribe if you haven't already. This will greatly help my channel to be able to reach out to more people. And if possible, as an optional extra, if you could do me a very great favor and also share it with just one other person or a social media channel of your choice, and leave a comment. I would highly appreciate that, and thank you so much. So for those of you who don't know me, I am Osman. I am a bioenergy healer on a master level with telepathic healing capabilities, specializing in critical care recovery and terminal illnesses, amongst a host of other physiological, psychological, and even spiritual ailments. I have an amazing offer, a 10-minute anxiety fix for just $5, done telepathically, less than the cost of a Starbucks coffee, and from any location. And I'm also an advanced level yoga and meditation teacher, having been practicing this art form for almost 50 years and teaching for 44 years. And in that period, I've studied under many masters from different schools of thought, from different cultures across the globe, from the Eastern, the Far Eastern, the Middle Eastern, and Western cultures. Right. To that end, I've gleaned out my information and created my own protocols, uh, basically, adapted for the 21st century, making things simpler, faster, easier, quicker, more effective, time efficient, and result oriented, right? And to that end, I've created also my favorite protocol, the 5 minute yoga and meditation program, which you can download for free by visiting my website, yogawellness786.com, and in exchange for subscribing to my blog, and where you can get more information about my services. And to date, I now have students in over 100 countries. So also remember, my therapies are all natural based and not a replacement for medical therapy. So coming back, when I was meditating, to give you an idea, there is the four frequencies of the mind, right? According to psychology science and modern science, it is the beta frequency of the mind, the alpha frequency of the mind, the theta frequency of the mind, and the delta frequency of the mind. So to explain it to how you can understand, the beta frequency is the regular frequency. People ups and downs, in emotions, feeling very stressed out, anxiety, a fear, not calm and relaxed and like together. So the centered type of person who is very calm under any stress, he calm, yes, I mean, he gets the stress, but he very calmly can make a logical decision. Like, when you in a war situation, everything is, you hearing this gunfire and everything, everyone panicking. Then you get this one person, he just very calmly, is very calm, is centered, and usually this person is a sniper, is sitting there, and he just takes aim, and people are firing at him, right? He's getting fun, but he's not moving, he's not flinching, he's got his pose, is on the ground, and he's got there, and he got his eye, and then he cocks the weapon. The bullet goes into the chamber, the .50 millimeter, bullet, the big one. He got it there, and he's calm and fire. People are screaming. It's a war situation, right? Very calm. Then he takes a breath in, and then he breathes out, and he holds his breath there in that feeling, that state of calm, and he gently squeezes the. He got his crosshairs on his target and gently squeezes the trigger, firing at a main center where it can create a massive explosion and obliterate the enemy, in a big way, right? So that's what the sniper is there for. So that's calmness. So also in a business situation or in a life situation, there's arguments, and you just find a person who is calm, centered. This is the alpha state, right? So you can make decisions under very stressful situations, and then you can make the right decision. You calmly analyze what are your options, what can you do, what should you do. A person is coming, he's he is very angry, he's drunk, and he punches you. He wants all the money from the safe, and you are, in a work situation, and they want to take. This really happened to me, by the way, and I was assisting a friend, in a accommodation establishment that houses like over 100 people. And the one person, he had some grouse with the owner. The owner owed him money, and he was very drunk, and he had an emergency that he needed money, very urgency, for a medical emergency for one of his loved ones. And he came there, and he demanded from me. There was a receptionist, and I was the assistant manager or the manager, to oversee everything. And sitting there in the reception as well, on a couch, and to greet the guests and welcome the guests and have conversations with them, and so forth. So he wanted the receptionist to, hand over the keys to the safe, and then I intervened. I said, "There's no money in the safe. It's late in the night. We've already cashed up. They emptied out the safe there, and we just started the duty, and no one came and paid cash. And whoever checked in, they checked. They had already had bookings, so there's hardly anything there. There's no money in the safe. I think maybe only just 200 lira, right? It was in Turkey, and he was frustrated. He's picking up the phone, and don't know whether to believe me or not to believe me, and this thing. And then he started to walk outside and communicating probably with family members in a hospital. What's the status and so forth. He probably needed the money, to pay. And he stepped outside the entrance door into the balcony area, and to have the conversation. I quickly told the receptionist, open the safe, take all the cash out, leave only 200 lira in the safe, and give me all the cash. Give it in my hand. I kept it with me in my inside pocket of my jacket that I was wearing that time. And I said, lock the safe and then keep the key, in its usual place. And by that time, the guy, he had a very short conversation. He came back inside, and he said, no, he must have the money. We must. I said, okay, fine. Open the safe, and then let him go. Just open the safe, unlock it, and then let him look himself. And then when they opened it, he saw there's only one note, 200 lira note. Oh, he got very angry. He started screaming. He wants to beat and the receptionist walked away, right? Because to give him space to go into the safe. And he came to the receptionist, and he kicked him, because the receptionist could feel he's coming for him to attack him. Receptionist turned around, and he started walking, and this guy kicked him and wanted to beat him, and he started to chase the receptionist. The receptionist was running away, right? And the receptionist went out the building, and he started to run in an uphill direction. And this guy, he being drunk and overweight, he could not, catch up with the receptionist. So he got out of breath. He came back inside. He came to me, and then he approaching me to beat me up. Right. So I know now I'm blind, and I can sense that because he's talking loud, and he's talking in a language that I don't understand, the Turkish language. but I can sense from his word that I'm next going to be beaten up. So I calmly assessed the situation because I knew it was a very small reception area. There was a glass cabinet. If he approached me from the front, behind him would be a glass cabinet. If he approached me from an angle from the left side, there's the balcony area, and it's very like just about 2 meters, 1.5 to 2 meters, and then it's a big drop down across the balustrade. There's a balustrade in the balcony, like a railing, and if someone goes past it, you're going to drop down and get injured, to the next floor down, right? You one floor up, you're going to go one floor down, fall one floor down, and to the right is the reception desk, and to the extreme right there's if you come from here, and the reception desk is can you know break if there's fight going to happen, because I'm picturing all these things in a split second. It's going to break and cause a lot of damage to the reception area. The computer is there, the audio equipment, and a lot of things regard safety things and so forth, for a lot of important things, the keys for all the room, places, and people's documents and all that, and the files and everything, important things are there in the reception. It's a big reception desk with all the things there. And then diagonally to the right, so in front of me, slightly to the left in front of me, is this glass cabinet. If I push, is going to break it, and there's going to be glass pieces everywhere, and there's going to be severe lacerations and bleeding. And slightly to the right of it, because the cabinet doesn't occupy the full frontal, till this, from the center that way, is a very thin wall, right? These partition walls, right, that partitioned a room behind, and where there were some ladies sleeping. And if there's a fight and I punch, or there's a tussle, it's gonna very easily go through the wall and gonna wake up all the people who are sleeping on the other side. They probably can hear some commotion happening this side. But I tried not to, raise my voice and they keep things soft. And just this guy was intermittently, uh, trying to, be a little aggressive, speaking slightly aggressively. No, not slightly, I mean very aggressively and drunk, right? But he wasn't screaming on the top of his voice. And he's approaching me. So I thought all these things as he's approaching me. And then he came from my right side and he punched, but like that, but not full on, right? Because I'm sitting calmly, I'm not responding, aggressively, and I'm calm, like how I'm talking now in the video, and I'm just calm. That's it. And I got all the cash in my pocket, right? And I'm calm. I'm not acting like nervous and like something's up or anything. And also, I mean, in the spare moments when he was on the phone after I took the cash, I could have called the police, right? But I'm in a foreign country. I'm a foreigner. I cannot speak that language. The police is Turkish, and this person who's here is a Turkish citizen, and they can easily turn things around on me. And if you can't explain, in a foreign country, you don't want to get into any type of fight or argument or tussle, and if you hit back and so forth, and you're gonna also, it's very easy for the tables to be turned over to you. In a foreign country, you don't want to, even in your own country, you don't want to hit blows, you don't want to be charged with assault. This is not the civilized way to do things, right? And so he punched me one, two, three, on the side here. There was no bleeding, nothing. And I stayed, still remained calm, right? I took the punches and I said, it's not life threatening for me to respond. Now, you must know I'm an energy healer. I learned my energy healing in China, Beijing, China, under Shaolin Temple, right? So part of the energy healing is, it's called Qigong Energy Healing. It's part of the thing of you, also Tai Chi. There's also Kung Fu martial arts, right? But I didn't like Kung Fu so much. I prefer the Japanese martial arts, karate. So I'm trained in that many decades ago, right? But that always is sustained in your brain, to be able to, in a self defense situation, you know how to defend yourself. And I'm someone who's exercising daily, reasonably fit, so I can put up some type of fight and know how to punch and where are the lethal spots. Automatically, we are trained. Even a woman without any strength can do it. So I I could have hit some, incapacitated him, kneed him in his groin, punched him in his solar plexus, and take my knuckles and bashed his temple with all the force I have once he's incapacitated and this thing. So I could have, because I'm blind, hold his head or something, and hit hard, you know, or go around this way and hit hard, with the two knuckles into the temple, very hard. And if I hit hard enough and break the bone here, it is a lethal blow, right? Just to give you an example, of my knowledge of it. And even though I may not seem like, Arnold Schwarzenegger, but a person can hit that lethal blow. So I'm thinking, and I said, no, it's best for me to be calm because he doesn't have any weapon that's going to, attack me. And even if he had, I don't have any weapons. I'm not carrying weapons, right? And so I took it, and then he sat down and he found me calm and he calmed down, and because he saw the safe, there's no money, what else can he do? And he felt is, I'm calm there in front of him. So he doesn't see me as a blind person being drunk because my eyes look normal. So when people look at me, they don't see me as a blind, they think I'm normal, right? Because my eyes look normal. And I try to face the direction they're speaking from where I'm hearing. I'm 100% blind, by the way. So, and then they feel like I'm looking at them, you know, and it's like subconsciously they're not feeling that, they're beating up a blind person or something. So then he stayed there for several hours, about 2 hours, right? And no reception. Reception has disappeared. Right, 2 hours, and I'm sitting there, and then customers started to come in and so forth to check in. The late night check-ins, one or two came in while he's there. So he's waiting for someone to pay. So I never elicit payment from the client. I said, no, no problem. And these were clients that could have paid cash there. I said, no, no, we have your booking, no problem. I'll give you your key to your room. And I, direct them. And I knew, by out of memory, how to, show people their rooms and so forth. And I never alert them there's a danger, this person is want to rob us and so forth. And then after the 2 hour period he left. He started to sober up and so forth, and he left. And sitting in the car, this is now called the alpha state. So yes, the long-winded story, but the alpha state is something that I attained through the practice of hatha yoga. It is like a prerequisite, like a foundational practice for meditation, right? You get into the state because it acts to balance all your subtle energy centers and also loosens your spirituality, your life force energy, or what they call the Kundalini energy. It doesn't physically awaken, but you can experience like energy surge when you're doing it for consistent practice. And depending on your how you're working on other aspects of your mind, in terms of you know being more selfless, more forgiving to people, and serving, these type of things help to cleanse your inner mind, your inner self, and prepares you, for the meditation state. But the alpha state, in that calm state, is what we call the alpha state, right? And then the theta state is when you sit for meditation. From the Raja Yoga meditation philosophy, Raja Yoga philosophy, or King Yoga, or sorry, Royal Yoga, as described by Dr. Deepak Chopra. If you don't know, just Google Dr. Deepak Chopra. He's trending, very famous, especially he was the professor of, I think, the psychology department, the head of the psychology sciences department, um, and spirituality sciences. They included it under psychology in the University of California, UCLA. I don't know if he still is there or whether he's retired. And he's written well over 80 books. I think over 100, but I know 100% sure over 83 books, right? On He's brought in the modern perspective, adding a lot of scientific elements to the mystic yoga system called the Raja Yoga system, which was propounded by Patanjali in the Yoga Sutras, which was written, I think, between 1500 to 1900 years ago. And in there, it describes the 8 steps, towards the height of meditation, or the climax of meditation, which is known in the Buddhist field as nirvana, or in the Hindu circles as samadhi, right? So that's being the peak, but there's steps, like a pyramid going up. Then it's called the yama, niyama, the do's and the don'ts. The observances and the restrictions, right? Yamas and niyamas. These are like truthfulness and selfless service, charity, and uh, also including like belief in having some type of faith in a higher power in the universe, or there is some creative force, higher intelligence, right? And so forth, right? That's how he described yama, niyama. Then asan and pranayama. Asan refers to posture, but from the sutras, it is like to have a comfortable posture, right? Before you start to meditate. Then pranayama is some breath work. Breath work is something that very easily, there's so many types of breath work. There's a direct relation to breath work and your state of mind. When you're very agitated, you breathe very fast. When you're very calm, you breathe very slowly. So by doing some breath work to control your breathing, you control your mind. You get a hold of your mind that way, and you want it to be calm first, because you have so many problems, you have so many stresses, you have so many things in life, and you want to get a hold on it. You do sometimes, you can just simple as breathing in and breathe out slowly, and you just have to do 3 breaths, 3 to 10 breaths, or just do for preferably for 5 minutes. So deep breathe in through the nostril and breathe out slowly through the mouth, right? It's a very simple uh, and easy. There's no danger involved in it. You're basically getting into trying to mimic or try to get into the alpha state, the calm state, the together state, right? With the breathing. And then you sit down, you close your eyes, and you focus your mind on observing your breathing. How you're not manipulating your breathing, but this now that you're breathing in and now that you're breathing out, you're feeling the air going in through the nostrils and you're feeling the air going out of the nostrils. You're just observing, but focusing on total relaxation. Just relax yourself. The mind is going everywhere. Just bring it back. Be totally relaxed. Just focusing on relax, relax, until you feel you're so relaxed that eventually, as you getting, practicing it consistently for at least 10, 15 minutes in the beginning, and then up to 20 minutes a day, eventually you'll start to feel so calm, and you can even use some guided meditations, yeah, at this point, that has this very soothing sounds of nature, waterfall, birds chirping, and a voice, guiding you to, totally relax, or maybe some very soothing music like Buddhist lounge music, Rumi's flute, Rumi in the desert, these type of. But the Buddhist lounge, lots of, amazing, that helps to create the ambience of calmness. This is the first step, to be calm. When you get used to calm, you'll feel that your senses are withdrawing. So it's called pratyahara. In the fifth step of meditation, you're sitting comfortably, you did your breath work to calm your mind, and then you're just focusing on your breathing, and you're feeling, start just focusing on just being calm, and you've got the audio assistance. So those, I found that to be very helpful, right? Especially in the beginning stages, because you want to feel like the numbness coming over your body up to your neck. You physically feel like a bottle filling up from the bottom to the top. You feel like a numbness filling up from the toes to the ankles, up your calves and your shins, and then to your knees, and then up your thighs, your hips, your abdomen, your chest area, and up to the neck. It fills up. It stops here, right? And then from your neck down, it is numb. It's like 90% of your sensation is lost. Like a very weak sensation of your body is there, as if you don't have a body anymore. You're feeling numb. You're not feeling like how you normally feel the presence of your body. There's like someone put an anesthetic, right? A mild anesthetic. It's not totally dead, about 90%, right? This is the first step of pratyahara. And when you get used to getting into it, you just close, and even without music, eventually you just close your eyes and just be calm, and you feel the calmness come into you, and then you feel that numbness, right? So it used to take me initially in the beginning stages decades ago about 90 minutes to reach that state of calm, where I'm like very centered and focused, where the calmness is more intensely deep, but I reach it now in 2 to 5 seconds, right? In 2 to 5 seconds. Let me see if I can, how long it takes me now in this video, right? I got it because I feel that thing like someone put a massive, like a radiation, like I feel the vibration myself. Let me do it again. Let me see, right? I got it, right? 1 to 2 seconds. I feel like something hit my chest, like a calmness flooding into me, right? And everything just goes calm. And then now, once that stage comes, then you can focus on the next stage, the sixth stage of meditation called dharana, which is focusing. So you just focus on more on your breathing. You can easily focus on your breathing. You find it's easy. Your mind is not running around so much. It becomes more, focused, and you're just feeling that amazing, the breath going in your nose and out your nose, or focusing on a point, whether you're doing open eye meditation where you're focusing on the forehead or you're focusing near the tip of your nose. And just as a side remark, you're not cross-eyed straining to look there. The secret to this is there's some point here. If you just look down gently, let your eyeballs drop, and just gently go there without any force. Go inwards as though you want to look towards the tip of. But if you try very hard, you strain your eye. Without straining, you try just bring it gently that way. There's like a suddenly you'll feel like a peace feeling there. It brings that peace, instantly. So this will start, that feeling should come as you're practicing the meditation, more regularly, and you got like a trigger. You just look there, it triggers that feeling, because you're doing something different, not what you're normally doing. So if you keep your eyes around, or you look, so maybe you looking at the forehead, and you may trigger, that when you get used to it, right? So I normally practice this point because I am from the old school, and I followed, what my teachers taught me, at that time. And they were very powerful people, and I felt they knew what they were talking about. And I followed the method from, my teacher, what he recommended. And he just said, and I never argue, is this possible or that possible? I just shut my mouth, and, I just submitted, and I did, and progressed very well, from that took me a long way. So this second stage is, it becomes very easy. So that when you trying, and then your mind goes, you just keep bringing it back. You're already calm, you're feeling numb, you're just bringing your mind back, you're bringing your mind back, you're bringing your mind back. You're just there, and then you're just looking or there, or whatever you're looking, or you focusing on a light, and you just keeping your eye, on the light, or a point on the wall, or whatever your meditation. That focus is this next level, right? It's called the sixth level, right? Um, Dharana, right? And then in 2 to 5 minutes, because I'm doing it for decades, right? I'm practicing decades. It used to, that is the stage that took me 90 minutes, right? To just get fixed on it and to be very calm. It used to take, and now 2 to 5 minutes of that 2 to 5 seconds, I feel that calmness, and I just intensify it with focusing my eye somewhere, or my focus somewhere, and it just intensifies that peaceful feeling. And I keep it there for about 2 to 5 minutes, right? That feeling of peace, keep it. And then I opened. I felt like I don't know what happened. I opened my eyes, and I always check the time. So 2 to 5 seconds to feel that calmness, 2 to 5 minutes, and then it's like lights out, right? But I'm not feeling any lights out. I just feel like okay, some time has passed. I'm just focusing there, and then I just check the time. 45 minutes has gone, but I only felt like 2 to 5 minutes, right? So for the 2 to 5 minutes only that I feel, so I feel like okay, I feel a bit calm, you know. And then I check the time, sometimes an hour and a half. And when I used to practice long-term meditation, I used to practice like this. I don't do it now. I don't have the time. I used to practice like 13 to 18 hours, right? 16 to 18 hours sometimes, in a day when I had, free time. And usually because I'm self-employed for the last 29 years, I had many employees doing it. I got things going, and I could spend, sometime the weekend, or in the middle of the week, this free time I may have. I can sit. I say today I'll sit in meditation, right? And I can go, but I never experienced 13 to 18 hours. I only felt like 20 minutes or half an hour, you know, but like time used to just go because why it went, I went into delta. Delta is the equivalent to when you go into deep sleep. There is no dream, no thought, no sense of me and my mind and my problems and my stress and who I am and who is that I am a human or I'm a entity, I'm in this location, nothing, just blank, total blank. It's called in meditation nirmal sthiti, the no thought state. So it is experienced as a non-experience. You don't have, you don't know. You open your eyes, you only sense it was a few minutes, and it could be several hours that went past, right? This means you reach the delta state. This is the meditative state, right? So just you have to know the system. I try to explain it to you in as simple a way as possible, and I hope you can repeat this what I've said, and that is the way to meditation, right? To go to that state of no thought, blank. You don't have to say, "Oh, I want to meditate for an hour," or "I must meditate 1 hour twice." You're not going to feel the passage of time, right? You can meditate how long you're not going to feel. You're going to go beyond time, right? This is meditation, and you do that, and one fine day, at some fine point, the samadhi is something that you can't manipulate. It dawns on you. It's as if it descends on you when you are ready for it, right? And when you're in that meditative state, what actually happening is what you are not aware of. The cosmic energy is flowing into you and preparing your body so that it can be ready for the samadhis. Because when you experience, you'll initially experience a taste of it when you're advancing, because to give you a knowledge of what it is, and that will establish you to practice meditation, because you have to practice for years, maybe decades, right, before you can withhold that level of power when the samadhi state comes. It is very extremely high, and every cell in your body will be and you can't hold it for more than the initial stage when your body is not ready for it. So by default everyone's body is not ready for it, so you can't even hold it for 2 to 3 seconds, right? It is so overpowering. You say, stop, stop, stop. In your mind, you'll say, stop, stop, and it'll stop. It responds to that, right? And in some people, many people who's not guided don't have a proper preparation for meditation. They're not doing the yama and the niyama stage, right? And they're not doing the pranayama, preparation for the body. And they're not, they're doing things on their own by incorrect guidance, following things, online, and, not getting properly initiated. There's hundreds of thousands of people, not 100,000, multiples of hundreds of thousands of people having adverse Kundalini experiences. Kundalini awakening that goes wrong and goes way wrong, because that power is very potent, and can be very dangerous also if you wasn't prepared and guided the correctly, right? So that's the danger side of it. So you need to connect. We're not, you connect. Like I'm an advanced level yoga meditation teacher. I'm able to do everything remotely and telepathically, prepare the person's body and so forth in a very short space of time, right? So usually it's a 10-day protocol, and I'm able to assess, you know, the readiness. And there is a tool that I use my students to use, and it self assesses. There's no danger involved if they use the method that I showed them, right? And that like self prepares them for that level. And I mean, I'm teaching now for 44 years. I haven't had a single student with an adverse effect, a single injury yet to date, right? So not that I'm so proud, but means because I know what I'm doing, and I'm taking the necessary precautions always, and guiding the correct way. That means my protocols are correct, and it's not uncommon for my students to attain, or access my advanced yoga meditation services, for them to experience the out of body experience. It's not uncommon when they come to me and tell them, they're having this experience and they're like totally shocked and so forth. They had the out of body within 1 to 2 days, within 24 to 48 hours, right? And some of them takes about 2 weeks, and but usually it's not after I prepare them and got them into that level, right? So they have, and also not uncommon for them to reach the breathless state where they cannot perceive any breath. It is so calm, the breath is so subtle you cannot even notice it. So this thing, and it's like I'm not breathing and I'm fine. Right? I said, no, no, it's very subtle, right? And because you need oxygen, right? How are you going to survive without oxygen? But you open up your pores, and your pores, because you're so calm, you can take smaller and smaller. There's less and less metabolic process happening. And you feel it's called the breathless state, right? It's not uncommon for them to reach that within a 12-month period. People are doing 10 hours a day for about 5 decades, and they have difficulty to reach that state, right? And usually it takes in a monastic environment where the situation is ideal, and they have teachers, and they have the energy, the energy of an experienced person, or energy empowered centers there, that's conducive to advancement of the meditation practice. In that scenario, with 10 hours of practice a day, it's not uncommon for them to reach the breathless state in 5 years, right? This is the study that we've done and found, especially, and it's empirical. You can, empirically, observe it, especially with a tool, with the EEG machine, right? It flatlines. There is zero thought. It's a no thought state. They can see there's no thought. There's no movement, up and down. And usually people who's practicing it full time, 10 hours a day in the ideal environment for 5 years plus is easily able to attain that state, the breathless state. So this is the very simple thing is just sit comfortably. You don't have to sit cross-legged or anything in the couch, right? That's how I began in the beginning. I had difficulty. I come from a Western country. Yes, I'm practicing yoga for decades, but I didn't feel the need to practice the cross-legged postures. I felt it was boring, right? I did all the other postures that was interesting. And I felt like, why should you meditate cross-legged? This was like 4,500 years ago, to 5,000 years ago, when the chairs were not comfortable and available so freely like how it's now. Now we have couches, we don't have to sit on the floor. When we go to listen to a lecture, we sit in an auditorium with comfortable chairs, right? Seated there. When we go to university or school, we're sitting on there's a desk and a chair, right? In the olden days, they sat on the floor, on the ground, cross-legged. So I felt there's no need for sitting, and that's how I learned. But now, then later on, I learned the wisdom of it. But you can attain the calmness level, and you can go. I had Samadhi experiences sitting on a couch, right, without being cross-legged, and sitting on chair and sitting on benches, multiple times. So you can be sitting comfortably on a couch with your back more or less. Like, don't try to like force it to be sit. It's like sit comfortably upright, close your eyes and just be calm. Put the calming music. This is a big PowerPoint, and just to focus to come until you're feeling numb. Once you're feeling numbness up to there, you'll physically feel it, right? Then you're ready to just to keep, then your mind becomes easier to focus on what you was already focusing while you're calming down. And then you find it's easier and you just stay on that focus. And then for, after a while, you have to just notice the time, the elapse of time when you finish your time, you're just saying. So you can even set an alarm, for 20 minutes if you're doing, the practice. And you notice the alarm is ringing like quicker and quicker. You don't know how 20 minutes finished. You only felt like 5 minutes or, 5 to 10 minutes, but 20 minutes finished. So you find time shortening, 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 and then stop the alarm and just gauge 20 minutes, by your mind. And, when you got, free time, don't do it when you have to go for an appointment because you'll miss your appointment, right? Because time can lapse. And then you'll find time jumping. Means you've perfected the next stages, right? Um, uh, Dharana and Dhyan, right? The next two. You went into Dhyan or meditation. Dhyan, they translate it to me, but it is actually means the no thought state, right? Um, that you attain. Dharan is the focusing gently on the breath or whatever you're focusing on. Pratyara is the calmness when it fills up to your neck. You've matured and mastered pratyara. You can't master a meditation if you haven't mastered pratyara. This is where the problem comes. People don't know what is pratyara and that numbness, coming and how to do it. So if you follow my explanations and guidance, I think you will start making substantive progress and not pass decades and decades, without knowing what is, ecstasy, what is feeling ecstasy 24/7, and what is samadhi experience, getting a taste of nirvana, and, and what is, getting intuition. And suddenly you have like all types of knowledge, your memory improves, and you can focus, and you learn how to manifest. The law of attraction is starting to work for you, and you're understanding how it works, the secrets of it, and life is becoming easier. You want money, you're able to make money. You want the love of your life, you find your soulmate, without even looking or searching too hard. It comes to you naturally. Everything, wealth comes to you. Suddenly your asset value is in billions, right? And then you set your new goal. And it's not like it's so that easy, but there's a path. You still follow the pathway, but your pathway you're following is going to produce a result. Unlike, a lot of people is trying and not getting anywhere. You'll be seeing yourself progressing, every 6 months. You're seeing you're progressing in terms of your goals in business, that you feel you're getting closer to, having, your cash, of $20 billion in a Swiss bank account. You can feel yourself, you can taste it, you can feel the reality of it happening, right? And then it starts happening. And then when you're earning, like suddenly you're earning you want, you go step by step, right? Depending, you want to earn like, like 2000. You want to earn firstly a monthly consistent income, and then you want to earn a little bit more comfortable level, that you have all your comforts. Maybe it's just $2,000 a month. Then you want to go to like $5,000 a month, and then $10,000 a month. You can be reasonably comfortable, in a first world country, in one of the leading cities like in New York City, or in Dubai, or in London, or in, California, in Los Angeles, um, or in Houston, Texas. $5 to $10,000 a month, you can be able to live reasonably, comfortably. And then you want to go to the next level, of making like, like 50,000 to 100,000, in a month, and you start attaining it occasionally. Then you're going to $1 million, a million a month, you know, and all these stages I've passed. I've passed earning million a month, and in 2004, I was 2025, over 20 years ago, right? I reached that level. I learned, lost and gained and lost and gained and lost. And I never put my focus on wealth, because when I had wealth, all the money that I couldn't spend, I had everything, whatever I could think of, I had, but I didn't have peace. I didn't have happiness. I felt I could everything, I could buy anything I want, but I don't have happiness and I don't have peace. And I found that to be more important, a premium. So, of course, those of you who don't have money, you want to first have money, right? But it's not a goal. It is, it comes or it goes, right? And I found it, if I focus on it, when it goes the way, like the 2008, 2009 crash, right? I lost, I think, about $900 million, right? Value. And I never get devastated, right? It went and came. I felt a little bit this thing, but and then I made again, up to asset value, in I think it came, in billions, right? In billions of US dollars, and it became just like useless assets. Right? Not even I could not even change it for a loaf of bread. Right? A loaf of bread was more important than that. It's just like a fictional thing, right? Because it was actually a business in a property, and it's got a future value, and it was actually a gold mine. It still is, with so much of gold. But for me to mine it and this thing, so it needs substantial cash flow investment, which I didn't have, and I didn't want to get external investment. And because there will be some clauses, hidden clauses, that if I miss one payment, I would lose for 100 million US dollars. I would lose, 20 billion. So a lot of people say, but 100 million is okay. I trade that because I don't can't liquidate, because you put importance to money, because you got no, you know, how can I put it politely, if an idea that what that what money is, right? That it's you can have everything, and it feels like nothing, when you have it consistently. And there is absolutely very little important. There's so many other things more important, that peace of mind, peace, having direction, having, knowing that you have someone, who that you are feeling loved, right? And you feel, um, uh, you know uh, that you don't feel lonely, right? You don't feel lonely, and you're able to forgive yourself for your mistakes, and and forgive others, right, for their mistakes as well. And of course you don't stay with them. You keep some distance against dangerous people, but you learn to forgive the people who did the worst things to you, right? Some people go through some very traumatic incidents where they lost their child. How can you this thing, and there was someone else driving, and he was intoxicated, and irresponsibly, and uh, you know came and crashed into your vehicle, and you survived and your child didn't, right? You can't even bring yourself to forgive that person, right? But you must be able to be in that space where you're able to forgive. Because you think someone deliberately, even those who deliberately setting, you get the serial killers, there's some illness in the brain, right? So we have them incarcerated, for a lifetime, or and I come from a country, that's abolished the death penalty, right? I originally come from South Africa, and I really, I can praise them for that, and commend them for that, for that thing, because it is like you're trying to take revenge. This is not a healthy thing. Rather keep them away, let that person have a chance to reflect on his thing throughout the, even if it's going to be for the rest of his life, no chance of parole or bail, right? You get this thing. But reflect, and maybe find some way to change his mindset and heal the problem in his thing. So you know um, I'm I apologize if I'm going into very deep and meandering and making the videos like unreasonably long, but I like to bring in real situations and my own experiences. This is what a video blog is, right? This is more like a vlog, my own vlog. And my passion is in like energy healing, health, wellness, and yoga and meditation. And it's just some giving expression to my perspective, my experience, personal, not from an authoritative perspective, but from a personal, from my, because maybe you want to know, what pathway I followed and what successes I've had and how and maybe it may work for you as well and help you. We're not saying 100% my way is going to work for every person or for the majority, but if it helps just one person, that's all. Then I've done, justice. I feel like I've met, I've actualized. I've got self-actualization, and I've been in a fortunate position where I've saved so many countless lives, right, with my energy healing and my advices and so forth. And I'm like enjoying my life and just trying to spread, help for others. These videos is more to give off that hopefully, people one day in the future, when I'm long gone, they may realize the content is so valuable, and maybe it's going to help one person, and they're going to realize the protocol, and the whole world going to learn how to do, this this protocol, amazing protocol, to get to very high levels of energy healing, very high levels of, being able to achieve everything that you want, get the love of your life, get, all the wealth you want, and then get the real things that count, like peace, inner peace, feeling of self-love, feeling of tranquility, feeling that blissfulness, irrespective of all the circumstance happening. You still respond to it. You're not crazy. You're responding to how any person, but you're responding more efficiently than those who, who's identifying with the stress. You know that you are identifying with your peace, your inner peace, and your inner, feeling of bliss and ecstasy that you feel 24/7. And but you being serious and attending to what needs to be done, and you've got acceptance, right, of some of the things that you don't have power over, and you undaunted, don't say never is never, don't accept never, say anything is possible. It's either want to, overcome it or die trying. Don't just take things lying down, uh, and also, have some wisdom where, where to know, where you it's not worth you pushing so hard and change your direction, because sometimes you you making your goals, but the pathway is different, and it's going to be better for you to take the better one, because to achieve your goals in a way you'd never imagine possible, in a totally different direction, but a better direction, right? So these are some of the things that opens up when you advancing correctly in the meditation field. And I hope that information helps you, and take care of yourself.